Peace, guys. How you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. First off, I want to say that I'm thankful to be in a country to where I can say just about anything I want to say. I'm protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, which is under attack. We know that, and it's getting more rampant every day. But let me say this before I get started. If you feel inclined to do so, please share this video, and I hope you would, because this is a critical time in our history, because this is an election year. It is the midterm elections, and historically in this country, when Republicans win the White House, they have a tendency to stay at home in the midterm elections. So if you are one of those conservatives that are content with the White House and you want to sit on your hands in the 2018 midterm elections, then you are the problem. You will be the reason why bad things are going to happen. You will be the reason why the Republicans will lose seats in the 2018 midterm election. Make no mistake about it. The Democrats are wanting to gain seats, just like the Republicans would in any other election. But this is critical. If the Democrats, if you sit at home on your laurels and you don't want to vote in the midterm elections because you don't agree with the way the president puts out tweets and because they're childish, I don't care if his tweets are childish. I don't care. If you're one of those people that are conservatives and you don't approve of the sexual relations that a duly elected president of the United States had in his past, then you're a part of the problem. Let me remind you, Bill Clinton had numerous affairs before he was the president of the United States. But if you're one of those that want to sit at home on your laurels and ignore the election of 2018, you're a part of the problem. What's at stake here? Like I said, seats. If the Republicans lose seats in the 2018 election, that means that the Democrats will try to overturn every single advancement that the president has made in his year and a half as the president of the United States. He's accomplished more in a year and a half than President Obama did in 8 years. The GDP right now is over 4%. It had never, under Obama, never got over 1.8% in his 8 years of presidency. Let's look at the facts. Unemployment in this country is at a 20-year low. The unemployment is below 4%. It's at 3.8% in this country. 3.8% unemployment. That's the lowest it's been in 20 years. Black unemployment is at its lowest point in its history. Hispanic unemployment is at its lowest point in history. There have been gains made. The president has made changes in our tax code that is putting money back in your wallet. It's in more money in my wallet. And the economy is growing by leaps and bounds. The president is doing a great job. Him and his staff are doing a great job. We've got a president who really loves this country. He's unconventional in his politics, but thank God he is. He's a hybrid. He's kind of like Andrew Jackson. But I want you to think about it. What happens if we lose those seats? I've already said some of the stuff. Do you really want to see people like lying Chuck Schumer back in charge? Do you really want to see people like Madmouth Maxine Waters back in charge? Do you really want to see retard Nancy Pelosi, who is brain dead, can't remember her facts, back in charge? You really want to see her as a possible Speaker of the House again? The same woman who said, well, we have to pass Obamacare into law, and then we'll see what's in the paperwork. You got to be kidding me. Is that really what you want? If you are a conservative Republican and you sit at home, that's what you're going to get, and you're going to be the reason why this country takes a step backwards. You're going to be the reason why people like me who care and voice our opinion will be suffering under Democratic policies because you were too sorry to get off your butt, grow a set of balls, and go vote for a change. Get off your butt and don't be content with the White House. Take the vote, go to 2018 and vote. Need to keep these people out of office, out of the majority. By the way, let's talk a little bit about Chuck Schumer, Lion Chuck Schumer, and Maxine Waters, Madmouth Maxine, and retard Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, I'm being a little bit disrespectful. I don't care. These are the same people. Lion Chuck Schumer, Madmouth Maxine, retard Nancy Pelosi, Robert Menendez, who beat a bribery charge, and Ben Cardin. These are the same guys, along with dozens of other Democrats who were against the Iranian nuclear deal that our President Obama illegally did while Congress was away. There was no congressional vote on it. Yet these are the same people who are against President Trump pulling us out of that bad deal. Thank you, President Trump, for living up to your word on the campaign trail. That's that. Now let me give you a little bit of a history lesson. Goes back to the 1930s. And I'll get to that in just a second. Look at what's going on in this country. What's going on in California? Unless you've been living with your head under a rock or have your head in the sand, then here's what's going on in California. You have got a uber left-wing liberal governor by the name of Jerry Brown, who has implemented radical policies along with his attorney general that they're going to do more to take care of illegal aliens than they are their own people. They are implementing crazy, crazy policies. And by the way, while I'm talking about these policies, thank you to the good people of California who are rising up and filing lawsuits against the Jerry Brown administration, siding with the Trump doctrine on illegal immigration, because you are sick and tired of your governor and your attorney general forcing these crazy laws down your throats. You should be applauded for standing up and taking care of yourself and having a spine and taking it to Jerry Brown. Thank you for doing that. But back to our history lesson. 1932 happened to be an election year in which Franklin Delano Roosevelt was duly elected as the President of the United States. Across the ocean in a land far, far away, in a place that some of us who know history are very familiar with. They had an election that year as well. And they elected a guy, democratically elected a guy, who was went down in history as the biggest murderer of people of all time. Adolf Hitler, duly elected. And then see, in 1932 and up into 1940, prior to the United States' entry into World War II, you had a party in the United States called the American Nazi Party, who was in Los Angeles headquarters in Los Angeles, land of fruits and nuts that way. People in 1932 through 1940, the American Nazi Party, standing in Los Angeles with their hands raised to Hitler saying, "Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil." You also had the headquarters for the Communist Party in the American Communist Party in World War I and leading up to World War II in California. What are they doing in California right now? They want to erase the name of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, two of the greatest men that ever walked this planet in this country. They want to remove their day. They want to remove President's Day and replace it with Communist Recognition Day. Are you kidding me? Communist Recognition Day in California? Forget about the presidents who George Washington, who put his life on the line to establish this country. Abraham Lincoln, who aged greatly to preserve this union. They want to replace those guys with the Communist Recognition Day? Give me a break. That ought to tell you the direction that this country is headed. Let me give you another little history lesson relating back to 1932. FDR, Democrat, who was really a socialist with his agenda, ran in 32, won. Ran in 1936, won. Ran in 1940 and won. Ran in 1944 and won. But in 32, 36, and 40, he had a vice president by the name of Henry Wallace. Why is Henry Wallace important? Why was Henry Wallace at the very strong urging and very stiff backbone of the American Congress? Why did they insist that in the 1944 election that Henry Wallace not be on the ticket? And that they put another guy in charge, another guy on the ticket, and that would end up being Harry S. Truman. Why did they insist that? Because they were afraid that with FDR's failing health, that he would die in office and Henry Wallace would be in charge. Why would they be concerned about Henry Wallace? Here's why. Because FDR, and this ought to tell you a little bit about FDR's true motives. FDR's vice president, Henry Wallace, was a card-carrying, unapologetic communist. And he was our number 2 man in this country. Number 2 guy. I just want you to think about that. Here you've got FDR with a communist vice president, and during World War II, he's in Yalta rubbing elbows with Joseph Stalin, who he called Uncle Joe, and ignoring one of the greatest statesmen this world has ever seen, Winston Churchill. And if FDR died and Wallace would have been the vice president, he would have slid right in as president. I shudder at what this country would have looked like. But that's another story, and you've got that. But getting back to 2018, get out there, vote. Urge your friends to vote along the conservative line so that this country can keep moving forward. We don't really want lying Chuck Schumer. We don't really want madmouth Maxine Waters or retard Nancy Pelosi or any of these others in key positions. Peace out. God bless you. I love you.